Single dead janitor's bizarre warning. Don't board that plane. Her shocking reaction at 3 a.m. The storm raged outside, sheets of rain pelting the windows like angry fists. In the heart of that chaos, in a dingy airport terminal, a figure emerged from the shadows, a janitor, a single dad, locking eyes with a woman, a stranger. His breath came out in ragged gasps as he stepped closer. "Don't board that plane!" he cried, the urgency slicing through the dull atmosphere. Something about his face, with its deep lines etched by worry, sent a chill down her spine. She could almost hear the thunder roaring in approval, twisting her gut with unease. This wasn't just a wild warning. There was something behind his eyes: fear, pain, an unspoken history. Every heartbeat felt amplified in the silence that followed. The other travelers paused, glancing over with mixed expressions of curiosity and disbelief. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, instigating an undercurrent of tension. Had the man lost it? Or was he onto something? The woman, named Mia, took a step back, her pulse racing. "Why not?" she stammered, struggling to process the panic rising within her. Rain tapped on the glass like impatient fingers, the lights flickering overhead casting eerie shadows around them. The janitor, Daniel, leaned in, stepping past the threshold of normality. "I've seen it," he whispered, his voice a gravelly murmur. "I don't know how to explain, but something bad is going to happen. You can't trust it." In those few moments, the world outside disappeared. The whir of announcements, the clatter of luggage, the scent of disinfectant lurked around them, but all Mia could focus on was Daniel's desperate gaze. Suddenly, the board flickered, and the flight information changed. "Flight 47 to San Francisco cancelled," it blared, and gasps echoed in the terminal. Mia's heart raced. She glanced at Daniel again. What did he know? Was it really just coincidence? Anxiety gripped her. What lay ahead was a complete unknown. Tales of bad luck and misfortune played like a terrifying movie reel in her mind, punctuated by the frantic stares of others around her. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." As the announcement blared again, Daniel turned toward the entrance, his eyes wide with alarm. "They're not going to let anyone off. We need to move now." He pulled Mia's arm, urgency replacing any doubt lingering between them. She felt a rush of confusion mixed with a strange sense of collaboration. For the first time, a flicker of hope pierced her fear. But would they make it in time? The clock ticked loudly in the background. Who were they even running from? Fear mingled with intrigue, drawing her deeper into the chaotic web of the moment. Doors slammed shut behind them, and a loud crash echoed through the field of travelers. "What's happening?" Mia yelled. Daniel's jaw clenched as he glanced over his shoulder. A siren wailed in the distance, warning them of a storm far worse than the one outside. What choice could they make now? Would she really be able to escape whatever dark fate was lurking just behind the heavy doors of the airport? As the lights flickered ominously once more, all her instincts screamed at her to find out what was waiting just on the other side. Mia's feet moved before her mind could catch up. Adrenaline surged through her as she sprinted alongside Daniel, weaving through the chaos that unfolded around them. The terminal had turned into a theater of panic, with travelers scrambling for exits, shouting accusations and questions alike. The blaring siren echoed endlessly, a wailing alarm that seemed to drill into her skull. They reached a small corridor that led to a maintenance door, Daniel pushing it open with one frantic shove. The dim lighting and the flickering fluorescent bulbs added to her rising dread. "Come on," he urged, pulling her inside. The door slammed shut behind them, the sound muffled compared to the cacophony outside. "What is happening?" Mia demanded, breathless, feeling her heart pounding in her throat. Her eyes searched Daniel's face for answers, his expression a mixture of determination and fear. He leaned against the door, hands gripping the frame, as if trying to brace himself against the dark tension within. There's something wrong with that plane. I've seen the aftermath before. It's not safe. You have to trust me. But how do you know? Mia shot back, wild panic danced in her chest. Images of exploding engines and perilous descents flickered in her mind. She felt a lump form in her throat as Daniel's eyes darkened with experience beyond her understanding. They don't just cancel flights for no reason. And I witnessed something once, the flight before mine. It never made it. The air in the small room became thick with a sense of impending dread as Mia took a step back, her instincts screaming at her to flee from this madness. We need to get out of here, she whispered, almost pleading. Suddenly, a loud crash punctuated the tension outside their door, the sounds of shouting travelers mixed with metallic thuds. Daniel's face hardened, and without another word, he pulled her deeper into the maintenance area. The clamor of the airport melted into a haunting silence as they slipped further away from the chaos. Where are we going? Mia panted, trying to keep pace as he led her through darkened hallways cluttered with old cleaning supplies and metal carts. She glanced around, her heart racing not just from the fear, but from an overwhelming sense of vulnerability. To the back entrance, he said, urgency inching his voice higher. It'll lead us to the tarmac. We can find a way to alert anyone before it's too late. Mia watched him, her thoughts racing. Would this janitor, a stranger pulled into her life like a dark tide, really save her? Every instinct screamed at her that danger lurked nearby, but something in Daniel sparked a flicker of trust. She could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on her as they burst into a larger room, dimly lit and filled with shadows. Just then, the overhead lights blinked, and the loudspeaker crackled back to life, a distorted voice announcing, "Attention, all personnel, please evacuate immediately. There's been a security breach." I repeat. Mia stopped dead in her tracks, her heart plummeting. A security breach? Her stomach twisted as she felt the icy grip of fear suffocate her. What does that mean? She gasped, eyes wide, locking onto Daniel. He met her gaze, a fierce intensity manifesting in the depths of his eyes. We're running out of time. The lights flickered again, plunging them into darkness for a moment. Mia felt Daniel's warm hand grip hers, pulling her closer as they stumbled deeper into the maze of the maintenance area. Who's behind this? She breathed, fear lacing her words. I wish I knew, he replied, his voice strained. But whatever is happening, it's not just about that plane, it's bigger. The buzz of static from a nearby radio broke through, carrying snippets of frantic chatter. Mia's heart raced once more as they reached the far exit, the heavy door looming like a barricade. Their escape teetered on the edge of uncertainty. Suddenly, Daniel's grip tightened. Wait, he whispered. Mia turned her head, catching a glimpse of movement down the corridor, a dark figure, silent and watching. Who's there? She breathed, gripping Daniel's arm tighter. A shadowy silhouette stepped into the feeble light. The air crackled with palpable tension. What happens next? She thought, frantic and terrified, as the stranger loomed closer. What were they about to uncover? The figure stepped forward, revealing itself in the dim glow of the flickering lights. It was a man, tall and scruffy, with deep-set eyes and a weary expression. His baseball cap was pulled low over his brow, casting eerie shadows across his face. Anxiety rippled through Mia as she focused on him. Who are you? Daniel demanded, a protective instinct causing his voice to rise. Mia could feel his tension, it reflected her own. I'm just a worker here, the man said, his tone tense yet somehow calm, like he'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. But I know what is happening. You both shouldn't be here. Mia's heart raced, every muscle in her body on high alert. What do you mean? What is going on? Is it about the plane? Listen, he urged, glancing nervously over his shoulder, there is something on that flight. Something dangerous. What kind of dangerous? She pressed, feeling a sense of urgency that made her voice tremble. I can't say too much, but there are people who want to harm it before it leaves, he whispered, casting glances behind him. You need to get out of here now. Why should we trust you? Daniel asked, skepticism hardening his features. Because I was there. I saw the plans. They're going to. Before he could finish, the overhead lights buzzed and flickered once more, bathing them in ominous shadows. Mia squinted, trying to catch a glimpse of anything around them, her instincts screaming for them to move. All personnel to the main terminal. Evacuate immediately. The loudspeaker blared again, its urgency drowning their conversation. The urgency of the situation snapped Daniel into action. We need to go, Mia. Right now. He grabbed her elbow, ready to pull her along. No, she protested, hesitating. We can't just run. We need to understand. We don't have time for that. He fired back, frustration bleeding through his voice. This is bigger than us. The man stepped closer, lowering his voice to a whisper. If you stay here, you will regret it. They're coming. The determination in his voice gripped Mia. What are they? Who are you really? They're not just airport staff. They're part of something bigger, something terrible. You both need to trust me. Mia exchanged glances with Daniel, their eyes searching for answers. The overwhelming chaos outside felt mute compared to the tension simmering in this secret corridor. What could be more dangerous than the night's events already? She felt her pulse in her throat, uncertainty coiling around her like a vice. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the corridor, the sound of metal against metal, followed by shouting. The man's eyes widened in panic. They're here. Listen, I can help you. You need to follow me. Mia's heart dropped. She looked at Daniel, who was already starting to move, driven by a mix of fear and instinct. Come on, Mia! They sprinted as the urgency escalated, the stranger trailing behind them. The corridor twisted and turned as they rushed deeper into the maze, the chaos of the terminal collapsing into muffled noise. Daniel's grip was an anchor, but Mia felt torn. Why do I feel like we're running into a trap? She gasped, panting, yet the sinister edge of the moment didn't go unnoticed. We have to get to safety, the man shouted, desperate energy lacing his tone. As they rounded a corner, the lights flickered violently again, plunging them into a strobing chaos of light and shadow. Over there! The stranger cried, pointing toward a door at the end of the hallway. But before they could reach it, gritty voices and heavy footsteps filled the air behind them. Panic took hold, wrapping around Mia's heart like a noose. Faster! Daniel urged, pulling her toward the door. Just as they reached it, Mia heard a shout behind them, followed by the sound of a heavy object slamming down. Shadows started to swarm into the corridor. Can you open it? Daniel yelled, and Mia yanked on the door handle, her mind racing. I think it's locked. The thuds grew louder, closer, and her instincts cried out to brace for whatever terrifying thing awaited them. They had little time left, would they make it through the door before whatever was chasing them closed in? What awaited them on the other side? Mia pulled with all her strength, frantically slamming her shoulder against the door. Her heart was pounding, an erratic drum echoing in her ears. Daniel strained beside her, eyes darting wildly as each thud came closer. A voice suddenly pierced through the chaos, a shout layered with authority. Stop right there! Mia froze for a split second, dread creeping up her spine. The man behind them, the scruffy worker, grabbed her and Daniel's shoulders. We don't have time to waste. Follow my lead. With one final desperate pull, the handle gave way. The door creaked open just enough for them to slip through, and they tumbled inside, breathless and wide-eyed. As their sanctuary slammed shut behind them, they found themselves in a dark, cramped storage room filled with crates and equipment. The air was stale and smelled of metal and dust. Mia allowed herself to catch her breath for a moment, leaning against the cool, unforgiving surface of a shipping container. What now? Daniel asked, his voice a low whisper. The man's eyes flashed with urgency. They'll look for you. In here, you're safe for a minute, but we need to move again. Trust me. Mia's mind was racing. What do you mean, they? Who are we hiding from? A sharp intake of breath escaped the man. People who will stop at nothing to ensure whatever is on that plane goes down. You need to understand this is about more than just a flight. What's on the flight? Daniel demanded, his tone intense. I can't, the man faltered, visibly shaken. It's more dangerous than you think. It has to do with a sudden noise outside the door jolted them. Heavy footsteps, amplified by the echoing walls. The shouting returned. This way. Check the storage room. Panic surged in Mia. They know we're in here. She turned to the door, instinctively pressing her back against it, trying to will it to stay shut. Stay quiet, the man urged, moving quickly around the room, scanning every corner. We can't let them find us. Mia thought she could hear her heartbeat in her ears drowning out the world. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being hunted, like prey trapped in a cage. She glanced at Daniel, whose face was grim but resolute. Do you trust him? Daniel whispered, his eyes darting towards the door. Mia bit her lip, the weight of uncertainty like a rock in her stomach. I don't know, she admitted, but instinct pushed her to follow. Keep your heads down, the man said, grabbing a flashlight and clicking it on, the beam piercing through the darkness. We're going to find a way out. They huddled close as he led them toward a narrow side exit in the dim light. The footsteps grew louder, relentless. They had to move. Wait, the man whispered, turning the flashlight off. We need to listen. Silence. An oppressive, suffocating silence. Mia felt the air thicken as if the world outside was holding its breath. Her eyes strained to see in the darkness, every second stretching painfully long. Did you hear that? Daniel's voice broke the stillness, tense and alert. A faint rustling echoed from the door they had just entered through, followed by muffled voices. They wanted in. And they wouldn't stop until they found them. Now! The man hissed, shoving the exit door open just a crack. They slipped through into the corridor beyond, skirting the walls, hearts pounding in unison. Mia felt a rush of adrenaline as the voices behind them became more distant. But it was only a temporary relief. Every step felt like a countdown, an assurance that danger was still looming, just out of sight. Where do we go from here? Mia asked, her voice barely a whisper, fear crawling up her throat. The man paused, taking in a breath. The maintenance stairwell leads up to the roof. We might have a chance to escape from there. Before they could make a move, the distant sound of an alarm blared through the terminal, rattling their nerves like thunder. Mia's heart sank. We need to hurry, Daniel urged, pushing forward. As they dashed through the shadows, Mia's thoughts raced. What awaited them on the roof? Would they even find safety, or was worse awaiting? Them up there? Suddenly, the stranger stopped, eyes wide. This way, he gestured to a door that led down into darkness. But I need to warn you, some secrets should never be uncovered. What had they gotten themselves into? What were those secrets? The questions clawed at her mind as they plunged into the cold, dark unknown. Would they really escape this time, or walk right into an even darker trap? Mia's heart raced as they stepped into the yawning darkness. The air was stale, thick with the musty scent of grease and years of neglect. She could barely see, her instincts straining against the uncertainty. What's down here? She whispered, clutching Daniel's arm tightly. The man didn't answer at first, his silhouette barely visible in the dim light filtering through the exit they had just left. Just a way to get away from them, rich with secrets, he finally said, his voice low and urgent. We have to move quickly. Are those the people who are after us? Daniel asked, glancing over his shoulder. The echoing footsteps grew distant, but uncertainty hung in the air like an impending storm. Trust me, they are looking for something. The man stepped forward, his fingers grazing along the damp concrete wall as they navigated through the narrow corridor. And you two are part of it now. Mia felt a shudder creep down her spine. Part of what? What do you know? The man hesitated, then turned sharply to face them. What's on that plane could change everything. Not just your lives, but the world. That's why you must listen to me. Stay focused. What does that even mean? Daniel snapped, anger flaring beneath his fear. The man's eyes darted around, scanning the dark with a frenzied energy. It means there are people who will kill to protect whatever's aboard. Whatever's left of it. Mia's breath caught in her throat. She exchanged glances with Daniel, his stormy gaze mirrored her anxiety. They were in deep now, and there was no turning back. The corridor opened into a larger room, the flickering light overhead barely illuminating the scattered remnants of old equipment. It smelled of oil and rust. In one corner, a door loomed ominously, seeming to whisper secrets of its own. The man approached it cautiously, peering through a small window. "We need to move fast. They could be here any second." "Who are they?" Mia pressed, her voice quaking with urgency. "What are we looking at?" Without turning, the man pointed through the window. A panorama of chaos erupted before them. Officials in uniforms moved passionately, a small team gearing up for a search. They were angry, frustrated, and on a mission. Panic ignited in Mia's chest. "The authorities," she breathed, stricken with worry. "No," the man hissed, his tone sharp. "Not the authorities. The ones they fear. The true power behind all this." Each word sent chills cascading down her spine. It felt surreal, a nightmare she couldn't shake. "What do you mean? Are you saying they're not the ones in charge?" He turned to face them, eyes wild. "You need to get upstairs. If they find us here, if they find you, there's no telling what they'll do. You must trust me." Before Mia could respond, a loud crash erupted from the main entrance, shaking the damp walls. The voices outside intensified, desperate shouts traveling through the air like arrows. "Now move!" The man ripped the door open, revealing a darkened stairwell beyond. Mia hesitated for a heartbeat, torn between the fear of what lay ahead and the terror of remaining where they were. Daniel grabbed her wrist, urgency pulsing like electricity between them. "Let us go," he insisted, his voice firm. With one last look over her shoulder, she stepped into the void of the unknown, a sense of resolve flickering within her. They sprinted up the stairs, shadows clinging to their heels. At each turn, her mind spun with questions, the urgency of the moment drowning out reason. What were they running toward? Would they find safety or plunge into a nightmare even deeper? Bursting onto the roof, the sun began to rise on the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant hues of red and orange. But the beauty felt tainted, overshadowed by the reality pressing against her mind. "What now?" Daniel gasped, scanning the roof for escape routes. "Over there." The man pointed toward a dilapidated access hatch on the opposite side. "It might lead us to safety." Mia felt dread settle into her bones. She could hardly believe they might have a chance, a way out that didn't involve the chaos below. But just as they took a step forward, a deafening crack echoed. The man froze. "No, they're here." Mia's pulse raced. The moment had come. Would they jump? Would they face the truth waiting for them below? Or was this final escape merely an illusion, a false promise into the further unknown? And before Mia could answer, another explosion rocked the terminal below, and the world around them began to unravel. Mia's heart thundered in her chest as the ground beneath them seemed to shudder. The sky overhead flickered with the deepening oranges and reds, but it felt like a warning rather than a promise. "What do we do?" she shouted, desperation rising in her throat. "We can't let them see us," the man urged, his eyes darting as he began to pace near the hatch. "They know we're around here somewhere." Daniel's grip tightened around Mia's wrist. "Let us get out of here, now." His voice had a hint of panic, his initial bravado slipping away. The man nodded, but Mia could see the doubts swimming behind his gaze. It was like watching a storm brew, and she felt the weight of their decision hang over them. Suddenly, the hatch groaned as the man pulled at it, the rusty metal protesting as it swung open. The stench of stale air mixed with something unidentifiable wafted up, curling around them like a tendril of smoke. "After you," the man gestured, the urgency in his tone unmistakable. Daniel nodded, and without another word, he slipped into the darkness below. Mia hesitated at the edge, uncertainty gnawing at her stomach. The chaos still roared like a wild animal in the distance, the sounds of shouting and clanging echoing up from the terminal. "Come on, Mia!" Daniel's voice echoed from the depths, strained but firm. With a swift nod, she followed him down. The dark tunnel swallowed them whole, the world above fading into a distant memory. Each step echoed against the cold concrete, dark shadows shifting with every flickering light bulb. She felt every heartbeat like a drum, the fear threatening to consume her. As they reached the bottom, the narrow space opened up into a damp, moody cellar. The walls were lined with mysterious crates and boxes, each one marked with symbols Mia didn't understand. The atmosphere felt thick, almost alive. "What is this place?" Mia whispered, her voice trembling as she took in the scene. "Important stuff," the man said, rushing to a crate and yanking it open. This could be what they're after. Inside lay an assortment of documents, papers etched with strange symbols and foreign languages, documents that looked like they held either secrets or danger. Daniel leaned in closer, his breath catching in amazement. "What the hell is all of this?" "Things that shouldn't be out in the world," the man replied gravely. "Weapons, technology, knowledge. It's what they kill for, and it's why you're now targets." Mia's mind was racing as she tried to absorb it all. What do they want? Why are we involved? Whatever's on that plane. The man paused, looking past them at the darkened tunnel with a haunted look in his eyes. "It's more than just hardware. Think of secrets that could change the balance of power. Knowledge that could bring nations to war." A sudden loud clatter echoed from above, sending shivers of fear down Mia's spine. The shouting had turned frantic, and she could hear footsteps pounding towards them. "They're searching from above," she breathed. "We don't have much time. Follow me." The man beckoned, urgency flooding his movements. He dashed down another corridor, shadows stretching around them like dark fingers. As they ran, Mia could feel her chest tightening, each breath a struggle against the crushing reality closing in. They rounded a corner, only to be met with a metal door, forged and heavy, standing stubbornly against whatever lurked behind it. "What now?" Daniel murmured, glancing nervously at the door. The man moved forward, testing the handle. "If they find us if we don't get through this door," he trailed off, fear etched into his features. Mia felt a lump in her throat. "Open it!" With one swift push, the man forced the door open, and a gust of air swept through, feeling almost too harsh for the dimness they had just emerged from. They stumbled inside, and the door slammed shut behind them, a solid thud that reverberated through her bones. "What is this place?" Mia panted, her heart still racing as she glanced around. A room flickered to life, revealing screens lining the walls, filled with chaotic feeds of information, maps, images, and constant streams of data. Then, out of the shadows, a figure emerged, the pale glow illuminating a familiar face, eyes wild and frantic. "You shouldn't have come," they warned, barely able to contain the frantic energy swirling in the air. Mia's breath caught. "Who are you?" The answer hung dangerously in the silence around them, a threat that made her skin crawl. And just then, a loud bang echoed from behind them, sending all three into a state of panic. Whatever they had stumbled into was just the beginning of something much darker, a labyrinth of secrets and unforeseen danger. What had they awakened? And who else was after them now? The temperature dropped as the dark figure stepped closer, the soft glow from the screens casting eerie shadows on their face. Mia squinted, her heart racing as familiarity washed over her. It was Alex, her old acquaintance from the university, the one person she thought was a dull footnote in her past. "Alex?" she gasped. "Why are you here? You shouldn't be." His voice trembled, and there was a wild urgency in his eyes, like he was on the verge of breaking. Before anyone could respond, the sound of frantic footsteps and heavy pounding echoed against the door behind them. Each bang sent a jolt of adrenaline through Mia's body. "It's too late to think about that now," Daniel shouted. "They're coming. Listen to me." Alex stepped closer, his face tense. "You need to understand. Whatever you saw at the terminal, it's not just cargo. It's alive." "What are you talking about?" Mia asked, breath hitching in her throat. Her mind swirled with confusion and fear. This whole operation, this room, this project, it's a front for much darker purposes, Alex said. They're not just chasing weapons and tech. They want to harness. He hesitated as another loud bang echoed, making the walls shake. They're after biological entities. Something from that plane could unleash chaos. Mia felt her stomach drop. Biological? Chaos? The word hung in the air, heavy with dread. How do you know that? I've been following them for months. What they're transporting isn't just hardware. It doesn't belong in this world. It needs to be contained. Then, the door rattled violently as someone attempted to force it open from the other side. The sound reverberated through Mia's bones, making her chest tighten with panic. What are we supposed to do? Daniel's voice was frantic now, glancing between Alex and the door. Do we fight? Do we? No! Alex pleaded. Running is our only option. They can't find you here. If they realize you're involved, they won't hesitate to eliminate you. Mia's thoughts scrambled together, piecing the gravity of their situation in fragments. They could just be innocent bystanders caught in a nightmare. But there was an undeniable pull, compelling her to know more about the truth lingering just beyond the veil. What if we get caught? She whispered, fear lacing her words. She didn't want to be another casualty in this twisted game. A deep sense of urgency coursed through Alex. I've got a plan. But we need to move, now. There's a secret exit, he said, darting towards a hidden panel in the wall. If we don't hurry, we'll be trapped here and it won't just be the door they'll breach. With a nod from Daniel, Mia gathered her resolve. They had come too far to turn back. Together, they followed Alex, squeezing against the cold metal walls, hearts racing as the footsteps grew louder, pounding through their minds like a countdown to dread. Is there really no way to stop them? Mia asked, desperation washing over her. It's out of our hands now, Alex replied, eyes darting to the panels of flashing data. You saw what was on the plane. It could change everything and not in a good way. Mia's pulse quickened. What kind of power could be unleashed? What sacrifices had already been made? As Alex pressed the panel, a portion of the wall slid open to reveal a narrow, dimly lit passage. He looked back, determination etched in his features. Go! We have to move before they find us. In that moment, a thunderous crash resonated through the metal door as the forces from above finally breached it. Papers scattered, their chaos mimicking the turmoil inside Mia's mind. A piercing scream echoed from somewhere deep within the building that made her blood run cold. Before she could react, Daniel rushed through the opening, pulling her along. Just as Mia turned to follow, a figure appeared in the doorway, a silhouette against blinding light. Stop right there! A voice bellowed. Mia froze, fingers grazing the metal frame. Who was that? Go! Alex shouted, urgency igniting his voice. The looming figure stepped closer, revealing a face she had hoped never to see again, the man from the terminal, his gaze fixed squarely on her, a wicked smile creeping across his lips. The enormity of dread rushed over her. They weren't safe yet. They were just getting started. What truth was hidden from them? And who truly held the power? Now trapped in a corridor posted by faces of the past, Mia could only wonder. How far would they have to go to emerge unscathed from the darkness? Mia felt a knot tighten in her chest as the terrible realization sank in. The man from the terminal stood before her, his cruel smile a stark reminder of the nightmare they were entangled in. Fear flowed through her veins like ice water, filling her with a sense of foreboding that clung to her skin. Why are you here? She stammered, instinctively stepping backward. Ah, Mia, he drawled, his voice smooth and taunting. I'm just here for a little reunion. You shouldn't have stepped into something you don't fully understand. Before Mia could muster a response, Alex lunged forward, blocking her from the figure. You won't take them, he spat, fury blazing in his eyes. Not now, not ever. Daniel clenched Mia's hand, the pressure of his grip a comforting reminder that she wasn't alone in this. What do you want? He demanded, his voice fierce but tinged with fear. The man shrugged, cocking his head as if he were merely observing a spectacle. What I want? He paused, letting the words hang heavy in the air. I want what's rightfully mine and you're just collateral damage in this game. Mia's heart raced. The walls seemed to close in as panic almost swallowed her whole. They were cornered. There was nowhere to run. Run! Alex shouted, breaking the tension. As the figure took a threatening step closer, Alex grabbed Mia and Daniel's arms, propelling them through the narrow opening. They stumbled into the dark passage just as the man lunged. Get out of my way! Mia heard him roar, his voice reverberating down the corridor. The three of them moved fast, the passage barely lit, its metallic walls cold against their skin. They sprinted, hearts pounding in sync with their frantic footsteps echoing against the confined space. What is that thing? Mia panted, glancing over her shoulder, expecting to see the figure right behind them. But all she caught was darkness, shadows slinking away from the harsh light of their fading escape. Alex looked back, worry etched into his features. I wish I knew, but we can't stop now. We need to get outside to find help. Daniel nodded, breathing hard. And then what? Just hope for the best. It's all we have. Alex sounded resolute as he pushed forward, leading them deeper into the labyrinth. Every turn felt like it could be their last. As they ran, whispers of confusion filled Mia's mind, drowning out the sounds of their panic-stricken breaths. She could still hear that man's smirk in her head, the certainty in his voice. You don't understand. What did she fail to see? Wait. Mia suddenly halted, confusion seeping through her. What about the biological entities Alex mentioned? What are we really running from? Are we just pawns in his game? Alex turned, his face drawn tight with fear and tension. It's bigger than us, Mia. Those entities are a threat to everyone. We need to make it to the surface. But how? Daniel asked, frustration bleeding into his voice. What if we find ourselves in the middle of everything? They'll come for us. They were all scared. The urgency buzzed in the air like a live wire, electrifying their senses. Mia swallowed hard. We have to face it. Whatever is happening, we can't be hiding in the shadows forever. Just as determination rose between them, a loud crash resonated through the corridor behind them. The man with the wicked smile was gaining ground. You think you can escape? He called, taunting them. You're already too late. The walls trembled as they pressed forward, urging each other to run faster, sprinting against time as dread echoed with each pounding footstep behind them. Mia knew they had to act, find answers, break free from the chains of fear. They couldn't let the darkness win. But as they rounded another corner, a sudden chilling realization hit her. The passage was branching out ahead. Two paths lay before them, one dimly lit and familiar, another bathed in cold shadows. Which way? Alex gasped. Mia hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to choose wisely. With the man after them and danger lurking, one wrong turn could lead to catastrophe. What if this decides our fate? She thought, panic weaving through her heart. Choose now, Daniel urged. Faced with an impossible decision, Mia could only wonder which path would lead them to safety and which would seal their doom. Mia felt the weight of the moment settle like a thick fog. The dimly lit path to the right seemed to promise a way out, while the left descended into darkness that felt like a void, a swallowing mouth of despair. Every instinct within her screamed to turn back, but there was no time for hesitation. Left! She yelled, the decision bursting from her lips in a rush of adrenaline. With Alex pulling Daniel along, they charged into the dark corridor, the air growing colder and thicker with each step. The flickering lights above buzzed erratically, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls, as if mocking their frantic escape. Are you sure about this? Daniel gasped, his breath coming in sharp bursts. There's no choice. Mia shot back, the fear clawing at her throat. She glanced over her shoulder, half expecting that man's sneering face to appear at any moment. So far, nothing. But the tension hung heavy in the air, a tangible curtain of dread. They stumbled forward, the echo of their footsteps swallowed by the deeper darkness that enveloped them. It was as if the corridor itself had a pulse, a slow, steady beat that felt both invasive and ominous. Every second counts, Alex urged, his voice strained. We need to find a clue, a way to understand what we're up against. Mia's heart raced not just with fear, but with a flicker of determination. Maybe this was just about escaping. Maybe they were meant to uncover something vital. After all, ignorance had already led them into this nightmare. Glimmers of hope flickered when a faint light appeared at the end of the corridor. Look! She pointed, exhilaration mixing with the terror that was a constant companion. There's something up ahead. They quickened their pace, rushing toward the light that hugged the distant wall. With each step, Mia's mind buzzed with questions. What lay beyond that threshold? Safety? More danger? Or perhaps answers to what had ensnared them in this deadly game. As they reached the light, the harshness of it struck them like a physical force. It illuminated a small, sparse room littered with outdated technology and half-finished experiments. A table stood at the center, cluttered with files and strange-looking devices. Is this a lab? Daniel whispered, peering through files marked with warning labels. What have we walked into? Mia scanned the room, her eyes landing on one particular document. This is about the biological entities. They're not just a threat, they're alive. Man-made and they're unstable. Her fingers trembled as she turned the pages, skimming through dense text filled with dire warnings. Unstable? Alex echoed, brows knitting together. What does that even mean? Are they dangerous? Just then, a creaking sound cut through the silence, a chilling reminder that they weren't alone. Mia felt her heart drop. The air thickened with tension, and the hairs on her arms stood on end. Hide! Alex hissed, and they dove behind the table, heartbeats drumming in their ears as footsteps approached. Mia peeked around the edge, her breath hitching when she spotted a silhouette moving into the room. It was the man, that same twisted smile plastered on his face, a predator in pursuit. You should never come here, he said, his voice low and menacing. Now you'll witness the consequences of your actions. Mia's mind raced as fear tangled with a burgeoning resolve. This couldn't be the end, not after they had come this far. What did he mean by consequences? What actions was he referring to? Suddenly, a loud alarm blared, the room flooded with red light. They had triggered something. The man's wide grin faded, and he turned sharply, urgency now replacing his smugness. Not now! He shouted, retreating as chaos erupted around them. The walls shook as the screams of mechanical systems surged. Something had been set in motion, and they had no control over it. Mia's instincts kicked in. Let us go, she urged, grabbing Daniel's arm, pulling him toward the exit as her heart bounced back to survival mode. But would they make it out before whatever horror unleashed itself? As they sprinted towards the light at the end of the corridor, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that the real nightmare was just beginning. The man's laughter echoed behind them, taunting, chilling. What horrors awaited them outside? Would they escape with their lives, or had they unwittingly initiated something far worse? Mia sprinted toward the exit, her lungs burning as if the air had turned to fire. Daniel was right beside her, his eyes wide with determination, ready to face whatever lurked in the shadows. The corridor erupted with sirens wailing, making everything feel like it was collapsing around them. She didn't dare look back, fear propelled her forward, each step a desperate grasp for survival. Go! She shouted, urgency echoing in her voice as they burst through the door, stumbling out into a larger hallway already shrouded in chaos. They skidded to a stop, disoriented by the noise and flashing lights around them. Figures in uniforms pushed through the chaos, some yelling orders, others carrying heavy equipment. The air was thick with the metallic scent of anxiety. Something terrible was brewing below them. Which way? Daniel gasped, scanning his surroundings, panic etched across his face. The man, the one who had warned them, was lost in the chaos, leaving them vulnerable and exposed. Mia felt her heart race faster than her feet could move, her mind screaming for an escape route. We need to find a safer exit. She locked eyes with Daniel, their resolve fueling the heat of the moment. Over there! He shouted, pointing down another dimly lit passageway. Instinctively, she grabbed his hand. They sprinted toward it, driven by adrenaline and fear, the chaos behind them fading but never truly disappearing. As they pushed through the door, they stepped into a dimly lit room, the fluorescent lights overhead strobing. Boxes were stacked against the walls, and a large table in the center held various scientific equipment, diagrams, and files. Mia's pulse quickened. This was more of the controversial operation that had ensnared them, and time was running out. There must be answers in here, Mia exclaimed, scanning the documents scattered across the table. We need to know what we're up against. Daniel rifled through the papers, his breath hitching at phrases like experiments, containment, and imminent danger. Just then, a loud crash echoed outside their haven, a reminder that whoever had chased them was close. Mia, we don't have time, he urged, pulling her toward a door at the back. We need to get out of sight. But her heart ached for knowledge, for clarity. What if those entities are beyond our control? We can't run blindly. Suddenly, a clatter of footsteps drowned her out. Daniel's eyes flickered toward the door, panic overwhelming his features. Mia, please. He tugged at her arm, resolute now. I won't leave you, I promise. But we have to move. With one last longing glance at the documents detailing a sinister agenda, Mia nodded. She turned to follow Daniel, her mind buzzing with unresolved questions but knowing they had to escape. They pushed through the door, spilling into a narrow corridor filled with flickering lights and low-frequency hums. The fear gripped her, but the silence twisted a knot in her stomach as they recognized they were now in an isolation hall, far from what they had known moments before. Then came the sirens again, louder now, filling the air until it rang in their ears. They're coming, Daniel hissed again, pulling Mia closer as they sprinted down the hall. What if the others are here? What if a massive explosion shook the floor beneath them, sending Mia crashing to the ground? Dust filled the air, making her cough as a booming voice reverberated deep within the building. Containment breached. Initiate lockdown. Get up, Daniel shouted, fumbling to help her. As she scrambled to her feet, reality slapped her awake. The world around them could collapse at any moment. A figure appeared down the hall, a shadow moving with an intimidating speed. Mia's eyes widened, her instinct to flee flaring. Go! They raced forward, heart pounding, the figure looming closer until the face came into focus. It was the man from the terminal, fury blazing in his eyes. You think you can escape this? He growled. In an act of courage propelled by instinct, Daniel pushed forward, shoving Mia behind him. Stay back! Daniel shouted, fists clenched, ready to confront their pursuer. But then Alex emerged from a doorway further down the hallway, wielding what looked like an intricate device, an odd glint in his eyes. You too! This way! Now! Without hesitation, Mia lunged toward Alex, feeling a surge of hope as Daniel followed right behind her. They dashed into the side room, just as the man shouted in rage, his promise of consequences hanging ominously in the air. Inside, the room was filled with high-tech equipment, and a large monitor flashing warning lights, maps, coordinates, and data that streamed rapidly. I thought you were gone, Alex exclaimed, urgency boiling in his tone. We need to get this online. It will explain everything. What do you mean explain? Mia cried, trying to process the reality of what had happened, the warning, the chase, the knowledge now fleeing from them. Muffled sounds of pursuit continued to reverberate through the walls as Daniel joined Alex at the terminal. Whatever that entity is, it's worse than we thought. In that moment, understanding poured over Mia like a wave. This wasn't just a chance encounter that spiraled out of control. It was a fight for their lives, a race against time to prevent an impending catastrophe. What's on that plane? She pleaded, desperation pushing the words out. Alex worked furiously, typing commands with purpose. It's a Pandora's box, he said, barely glancing up, all the secrets of a power-hungry organization. Mia inhaled sharply, panic rising once more. Then we can't let anyone get to it, she said, realization hitting her squarely. They had stumbled into something bigger, and now they were part of it. Suddenly, the screen began to display vital information, the very details that had the authorities in a frenzy, the truths that could change everything. Mia felt the words stitch themselves into her understanding. The plan behind it all stretched beyond mere survival. Then screams echoed again. Whoever was chasing them, they were closing in fast. "Let us finish this!" Daniel roared, determination mingling with fear. With the data displayed and panic growing, Mia felt a surge of resolve. "We have to alert others. We have to reach the media. This can't stay hidden." "No! That will only draw more attention," Alex countered, a flash of fear in his eyes. They were running out of time. Suppressing the rising terror, Mia placed her hand on the screen, trembling with the weight of their discovery. "Then we fight. We end this together." As they prepared to take one last stand, the door exploded open. A gust of air flung debris into the room, revealing the man with a triumphant glare. "Too late!" he snarled as he stepped inside, agents flanking him, ready to pounce. Mia's heart raced. But they couldn't back down. "No more running. Now!" she shouted. Together they charged forward, united against the darkness. It was now or never. Would they reclaim their lives, or would they write the final chapter in a story buried in chaos? They took a relentless stand against the shadows closing in, the truth bubbling to the surface. This story was far from over. Now it's your turn to join the fight. It's time to act. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive story. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and keep the adventures alive. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this conclusion. Let us hear what you think. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see what happens next. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting our channel through these actions.